Despite all progress and development, poverty remains a devastating and international problem. SDG 1 refers to the commitment to end poverty in all its forms by 2030. It is based on the principle that all people everywhere should enjoy a basic standard of living. Poverty is a multifaceted notion, which is not easy to define and to evaluate. In 1995, the United Nations has defined poverty as a condition characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs, including material, food, safe drinking water, sanitation facilities, shelter, and non-material aspects, education and information, for example. There are three different perspectives on poverty. The income perspective. It indicates that a person is poor if his or her income is below the poverty line. According to the World Bank, extreme poverty refers to earning less than $1.90 per day. The basic needs perspective. It goes beyond the income perspective to include the basic material necessities of life, such as clean water, nutrition, sanitation, healthcare, shelter, clothing, to prevent individuals from falling into poverty. This perspective raises questions such as, how much do we need? Do we all have the same needs? And finally, the capability or empowerment perspective. Unlike the basic needs approach, which is a consumption-oriented approach, the capabilities approach is people-focused. It concentrates on enhancing people's well-being by expanding their capabilities so that they can look after themselves. It is about empowering people to get out of poverty and thereby meet their basic needs. There are many consequences to poverty, such as social exclusion, poor mental and physical health. It includes disease, low self-esteem, higher mortality. Just to give an example, 18,000 children still die each day from poverty-related causes. But also involvement in low-paid work, often terrible working conditions involving child and forced labor and exclusion from the job market. So let me give you some figures related to poverty. So in 2013, according to the World Bank, it's 767 million people that were estimated to be living below the international poverty line of $1.90 per person per day. It represents more than 10% of the population, so 1 out of 10 people in the world. Almost half of the world, over 3 billion people, live on less than $2.50 a day. There is a continuous gap between the rich and the poor. The poorest 30% of the world's population account for 5% of global income, while the richest 20% account for 75% of the world income. Almost half of the extreme poor live in sub-Saharan Africa, and almost 3/5 of the world's extreme poor are concentrated in just 5 countries: Bangladesh, China, the Democratic Republic of Congo, India, and Nigeria. The aim of SDG 1 is to end poverty in all its manifestations. For this purpose, it has defined 5 targets. Eradicate extreme poverty to all people everywhere, for all people everywhere. Reduce at least by half the proportion of people by all ages living in poverty. Implement nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures. Ensure equal rights to economic resources, basic services, ownership, and technology. And finally, build resilience to climate-related extreme events. Unfortunately, the poorest are the most vulnerable to and concerned by climate-related extreme events. So what can business do? One of the key roles of business is to ensure that they meet their responsibility to respect human rights. But overall and beyond income, business can influence other dimensions of poverty, such as limited opportunities and capabilities. Here are some non-exhaustive examples of what they can do. They can develop products and services tailored for poor customers, for example, the mobile-based money transfer services for unbanked consumers. They can improve access to basic goods and services for people living in poverty. For example, access to medicines, access to water, access to electricity. They can recruit, train and employ local and community members, including those living in poverty. And they can invest in business-driven poverty eradication activities, such as develop living wage policy.